Yes, sir.
Good morning, everyone. This meeting is called to order. Mr. Troman, has anyone signed up for public comment? Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, cases to reconsider under agenda item 3.
That's correct. No cases.
None.
No case.
Under agenda item 4, there's 2 tax cases on docket 19.
Good morning. For the record, Hugh Daniels, Special Program Appeals. That is correct, Chairman Daniel. There are 2 tax liability cases on docket 19. The first case is TD-23-022-0323. Commissioner Esparza.
Agree with the recommendations, grant the employer's motion of withdrawals, Rule 13 request.
Commissioner Trevino.
Agree with staff's recommendation.
Chairman Daniel.
Agree with staff recommendation.
Thank you. The second case is TD-23-038-1223. Commissioner Esparza.
We disagree with the recommendation that drivers are not in employment.
Commissioner Trevino.
I agree with staff's recommendation.
And Chairman Daniel.
I concur with Commissioner Esparza.
Commissioner Trevino, would you like to dissent?
Yes, short form dissent, please.
All right, thank you. That concludes the tax liability cases for docket 19.
Thank you. No fair housing cases under agenda item 5, under agenda item 6, no child labor cases under agenda item 7. We have wage claim case pulled on docket 19 for additional discussion.
Yes, sir. Case number 23-051433-0. Commissioner Trevino.
The motion for rehearing should be granted. While the claimant did not submit evidence with her MR, she described evidence that she submitted during the commission's review of the employer's appeal, which was not received, constituting new evidence. The fact that the commission records indicate that this evidence was not received is a compelling reason why the new evidence was not offered earlier. And the claimant gives a specific explanation of how the new evidence would change the outcome of the case, as she states that it shows that she was paid 2 weeks in arrears, which would establish that she was never paid for the last 2 weeks of work. The claimant has met the MR requirements, and the rehearing should be granted to allow the claimant to resubmit her earlier facts that was not received by the commission. Grant the motion for rehearing.
The MR should be denied. The claimant's MR offers no new evidence that was previously unavailable and that would change the outcome of the case. Although the motion does mention the claimant's contention that paychecks were issued in arrears, i.e. to cover previous pay periods, that is something she could have discussed at the hearing but did not. In addition, her current position on the wages owed is inconsistent with the information she furnished on her wage claim. Accordingly, we should deny the motion for rehearing. The MR offers no new evidence that was previously unavailable, and that would change the outcome of the case.
Deny the motion for rehearing.
I'll maintain my previous dissent.
Yes, sir. That was the only full case for wage claim on docket 19, and you should have received the short form dissent list for docket 19.
I'm going to accept staff recommendations on the remaining wage claim cases on docket 19.
I second the motion, except for those cases on which I am dissenting, as reflected on wage claim short form dissent list for docket 19.
I concur with the chairman's motion, except for the cases on which I am dissenting as reflected on wage claim short form dissent list for docket 19.
Motion passes with the exception of no. We'll move to agenda item 8, consideration of unemployment insurance cases on docket 19. Please proceed when you're ready.
Case number 3132464, Commissioner Esparza.
The AT decision does not support. Concerning the timeliness of protest issue, this case is substantially identical with 3 other cases on dockets 32 and 39 of last year, in which the employer offered consistent and credible testimony that it did not receive the notice of maximum potential chargeback. The notice in these cases was mailed on June 10th, 2020, which was within the time frame during which TWC and postal systems were still overwhelmed with the pandemic, and non-receipt of mailed items was unfortunately a fact of life for TWC claimants and employers. While it is possible that the employer's non-receipt of the MPC was caused by negligent employee, it is equally possible that in June of 2020, the NMPC, simply never made it to the employer's office due to pandemic-related problems. There is sufficient evidence to accept the employer's testimony that it did not receive the notice and hold its protest timely. The AT did not take testimony regarding the chargeback issue. Accordingly, we should reverse the AT decision. The employer filed a timely protest and remand the case to the appeal tribunal on the chargeback issue.
The AT decision is correct. TWC mailed the notice of maximum potential chargeback to the employer's correct address. The employer failed to present any credible evidence as to whether the notice was received by the employer and has failed to rebut the presumption of receipt. Affirm the appeal tribunal, late response to notice of maximum potential chargeback. The employer account remains charged.
Timely response to the NMPC remained.
We have a majority vote of timely response to NMPC and remand. Would you want to dissent on the,
Yes, ma'am, short form dissent.
yes, sir.
Case number 3463320, Commissioner Esparza.
We should modify the AT decision. The parties to this case certified that the claimant was provided an additional 15 weeks of severance pay and a lump sum covering the benefits weeks of February 28, 2021 through June 12th, 2021. Commission guidelines specify that if either party informs the commission about the specific number of weeks that it's covered by the additional pay, then the claimant should be held ineligible for the weeks in question, beginning with the last day worked. Since the parties agreed that the severance payment in question was for a period of 15 weeks beginning the week of the job separation, and because the separation was not based on any disqualifying exceptions, we should modify the AT decision. Severance disqualification from February 28, 2021 through June 12, 2021.
The AT decision is not supportable. The claimant received a lump sum severance payment from the employer on his last day of work. The severance payment was received several days prior to the effective date of the claimant's separation and prior to filing his claim for benefits. Since the severance payment was provided to him in its entirety before he filed his claim for benefits, the payment should not disqualify the claimant from receiving benefits. Reverse the AT, no disqualifying severance.
No severance disqualification.
Short form dissent.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3504329, Commissioner Esparza.
We should modify the AT decision. First, I don't contest the good cause issue. Concerning chargeback to the employer's account, the employer's timely protest to the NMPC specified that the claimant quit. The employer's appeal to the AT further added that the claimant quit for another job. Because the available evidence established that the claimant's separation was voluntary and without work-connected good cause, we should modify the AT decision. The employer did not establish good cause for missing the AT hearing. No chargeback.
The AT decision is correct. The employer did not appear for AT1 because they simply forgot about the hearing. Therefore, the employer did not establish good cause for reopening the hearing. Regarding the chargeback issue, the available record does not provide sufficient details about the claimant's job separation to support a ruling that the employer's account should be protected from chargeback. Affirm the AT, employer did not have good cause for AT1 chargeback.
Employer did not establish good cause for AT1, no chargeback.
We don't have a majority vote as to the chargeback issue. Okay, We have a majority vote that the employer has no good cause for non-appearance at 81 and no chargeback.
And short form dissent.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3538265, Commissioner Esparza.
I'm asking that we reverse the AT decision. The employer, the only party to the AT hearing, specified that the claimant was separated when she shared confidential information regarding a client in violation of HIPAA. Since the employer's policy specified prohibited unauthorized transmission of client information, the claimant's violation of the employer's confidentiality guidelines constituted mismanagement of her position of employment. As such, we should reverse the AT decision, misconduct, no chargeback, adequate employer response.
The AT decision is correct. The employer testified that the claimant was discharged for attending a job interview with another employer on her lunch break. Commission precedents holds that interviewing for a new job is not misconduct connected with the work. The employer's witness did not meet its burden of proving that the claimant's actions constituted misconduct. Affirm the AT, no misconduct, chargeback.
Rehear for the employer to provide credible evidence the claimant violated HIPAA.
We don't have a majority vote. Commissioner Sparsa, would you agree to rehear?
Yeah, I'll concur with the chairman on this. Yeah, I want to look, we definitely want to look more on the HIPAA, whether it was the HIPAA or the other thing, I guess. I concur with the chair.
Okay, we will rehear the case.
Case number 3571480, Commissioner Esparza.
We should reverse the AT decision on good cause. TWC records indicate that the employer called in for the 8 a.m. hearing at 8 a.m. The employer's inability to call any earlier resulted from taking children to school, heavy traffic, and cell phone issues. Because the employer called in for the hearing at the time the hearing was scheduled, the employer should have been allowed to participate. Accordingly, we should find that the employer had good cause for its non-appearance and resubmit the case for its merit testimony.
The AT decision is not supportable. The commission records show that the employer's witness called in at 8 a.m. for an 8 a.m. hearing. Therefore, the employer's witness should be allowed to participate in the hearing. Modify the AT, employer established good cause for AT1, resubmit.
Employer established good cause for AT1, resubmit.
We will resubmit the case.
Case number 3583405, Commissioner Esparza.
We should reverse the AT decision. The parties agreed that although the claimant's assignment had ended, she was still employed and expected to take other substitute teacher assignments. Through the end of the school term, the claimant took leave for a couple of weeks after a long-term assignment ended, but thereafter did not return to work. By not taking any more assignments, the claimant gave the employer a reasonable impression that she had quit. Thus, because the claimant stopped working for personal reasons, she quit without good cause connected with the work. We should reverse the AT decision, voluntary leaving, reimbursement employee not billed, adequate employer response. In the alternative, the employer testified that the claimant also gave the impression that she had quit by sending text messages to the children's parents. The employer provided these messages, but they were not legible. Therefore, we should rehear this case for admission and review of the legible copies of the text messages.
The decision is correct. The claimant was working a long-term substitute teaching assignment when the employer replaced her with a full-time teacher. After the employer ended her assignment, the claimant had to be on medical leave for the next few weeks. When the claimant contacted the employer following her medical leave, she was informed that she had been removed from the substitute teaching list and was locked out of the system. Although the employer alleged that the claimant informed others that she no longer wanted to work for the school district, they only presented inconsistent hearsay testimony to support this contention. The claimant denied under oath that she informed anyone that she was quitting. Therefore, the evidence established that the employer initiated the separation when they removed the claimant from her long-term assignment and then later removed her from the substitute teacher system. There was no showing of any misconduct on the claimant's part. We should affirm the AT, no misconduct, bill reimbursing employer.
We're here for a legible copy of the claimant's message to parents and to question the claimant on why she did not work between her leave ending and the date she was taken off the substitute list.
We will rehear the case.
Case number 3593483, Commissioner Esparza.
The commission appeal should be voided and the AT decision should be set aside. Although the employer's appeal to the commission from an order of dismissal may have been late, the commission appeal should be voided because the underlying order of dismissal was itself void. TWC's appeal records clearly show that the employer filed a timely appeal. Unfortunately, the AT failed to act on a timely appeal and instead issued an order of dismissal based on a follow-up letter from the employer sent to follow up regarding the chargeback. Since the order of dismissal was not issued on the employer's actual appeal, it is void and should be set aside. No testimony from the employer was taken on any issue. Accordingly, we should void the appeal to the commission, set aside the order of dismissal, remand the case to the AT. The late commission appeal should be voided. The order of dismissal should be set aside because the employer filed a timely appeal, and remand for hearing on the merits of the late protest and chargeback issues.
The employer's appeal should be dismissed as late. The AT decision was mailed to the employer's address of record on 5/25 of 23, with an appeal deadline of 6/8 of 23. The employer did not file its appeal until 7/3 of 23. The employer received the decision, and though the employer indicated that their appeal that they delayed appealing because they did not understand the decision, there is no good cause exception to the timeliness rules. Dismiss. Late employer appeal.
Deemed commission appeal timely, timely protest, no chargeback.
We don't have a majority vote. Commissioner Esparza, would you agree with chairman's?
Yes,
vote?
I'll concur with the chairman.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3594915, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision is correct. The claimant was discharged for failing to follow the employer's process for ordering items. The claimant was unaware of a specific procedure for processing these types of orders, and the employer provided uncertain and inconsistent testimony on the specific procedures required for submitting purchase order forms. Therefore, the employer failed to establish that the claimant mismanaged his position of employment, and the evidence provided is insufficient to prove misconduct connected with the work. Affirm the AT, no misconduct, chargeback, void adequate response.
We should reverse the AT decision. Despite being on final warning for his performance, the claimant was separated when he violated the employer's rule by submitting purchase orders without managerial approval. Since the claimant received multiple prior warnings for similar behavior, the claimant's failure to obtain proper authorization prior to placing purchase orders was mismanagement of his position of employment. As such, we should reverse the AT decision, misconduct, no chargeback, adequate employer response.
Misconduct, no chargeback, adequate employer response.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3595240, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision should be modified. I agree that the claimant's appeal should be deemed timely, as the claimant did not receive the determination. However, regarding the job separation, the claimant worked for the employer, a home health company, and the claimant provided credible and consistent firsthand testimony that when her assignment ended because the client would not permit her to enter the client's residence to provide services, the claimant attempted to contact the employer, but was unable to reach anyone regarding the issue with the client for several days. Once the claimant was able to reach the employer, She was not offered another assignment. Therefore, the claimant was discharged for reasons other than misconduct connected with the work when her assignment ended. And she was not offered another assignment. Modify the AT, timely claim and appeal, no misconduct, chargeback.
We should affirm the AT decision. First, I don't dispute the timeliness finding. Concerning the job separation, the claimant should have contacted the employer as soon as she realized there was an issue with her ability to enter her client's home. Instead, she waited several days to reach out to the employer and then simply stopped reporting to work. It was the client who first notified the employer of the claimant's absence from work. So under these circumstances, the claimant is considered to have initiated the job separation without work-connected good cause. We should affirm the AT decision, timely claimant appeal, voluntary leaving, no chargeback.
Timely claimant appeal, no misconduct, chargeback.
Short form dissent.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3604098, Commissioner Trevino.
The claimant's continued claim involved his work for a gig economy employer in self-employment. As such, the continued claim dated May 13th of 2023 should be voided. Void the continued claim, set aside the AT decision, and set aside the job separation and overpayment determinations.
We should affirm the AT decision. Claimant got a new phone and could no longer accept assignments through the employer's system until his new phone number was verified by the employer. Because the claimant stopped working due to personal reasons, he's considered to have quit without good cause connected with work. We should affirm the AT decision with voluntary leaving and overpayment.
Void the continued claim, void overpayment.
Short form dissent.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3606034, Commissioner Trevino.
The claimant's continued claim involved his work for a gig economy employer in self-employment. As such, there was no separation from employment, and the continued claim dated May 6th of 2023 should be voided. Void the continued claim, set aside the AT decision, and set aside the job separation and overpayment determinations.
We should affirm the AT decision. The claimant stopped working as a delivery driver when he lost his transportation. Because the claimant stopped working due to personal reason, he's considered quit without good cause connected with the work. We should affirm the AT decision, voluntary leaving, overpayment.
Void the continued claim, void overpayment.
Short form dissent.
Yes, sir. That was the last case pulled for additional discussion on docket 19, and you should have received the short form dissent list for docket 19.
Move we accept staff recommendations on the remaining UI cases on docket 19.
I second the motion except for those cases which I am dissenting, as reflected on the UI short form dissent list for docket 19.
I concur with the chairman's motion, except for the cases on which I am dissenting as reflected in the UI short form dissent list for docket.
Motion passes with the exceptions noted. This brings us to the end of agenda item 8. Let's pause for a few minutes to reset for the rest of the meeting.
Yeah.
It's agenda item 9, the Workforce Innovation Fund.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Cerna. For the record, I'm Joel Mullins with the Workforce Development Division. As set forth in TWC rule at 40 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 802, Subchapter I, TWC's three-member commission may establish monetary and non-monetary workforce awards for local workforce development boards and other partners. At the commission meeting on March 18th, 2024, staff were asked to bring forward a discussion paper to replace monetary board awards with an innovation fund to which boards could apply to receive funding for innovative activities. Staff have developed a proposal for an innovation fund using $1 million in WIOA statewide funds to fund innovative projects that are not within the scope of the board's existing contractual obligations. This morning, staff seeks direction on the establishment of an innovation fund as presented here today and as described in your meeting materials. This concludes my remarks, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any comments or questions?
None here.
My only comment is I appreciate this item coming up. I wasn't around for a full cycle of how we formally were arranging these appropriations, but I definitely want to support it because it sounds like it's a great innovative way. I think it's in there. The word is in the title, to use this money to meet the needs of the boards. But I also appreciate the boards enjoying the little friendly competition on at the end of the year too. So I appreciate whatever we can do to identify the hard work that the boards do on those occasions. So thank you for bringing this up and explaining it.
All right, is there a motion?
Chairman, I move we approve the creation of the Workforce Innovation Fund utilizing $1 million in the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act statewide funds as described in the discussion paper and recommended today by staff.
A second.
It's been moved, second, motion carries. Thank you. So agenda item 10, funding for the Workforce Diploma Pilot Program.
Good morning, Chairman Daniel, Commissioner Trevino, Commissioner Esparza, and Mr. Serna. For the record, Carrie Ballast, Workforce Development Division. Texas Labor Code, Chapter 317 requires the Texas Workforce Commission to establish and administer the Workforce Diploma Pilot Program. The program allows eligible Texas high school diploma granting entities to be reimbursed for helping adult students obtain high school diplomas and industry recognized credentials, and also helps in the development of technical career readiness and employability skills. Today, staff seeks approval of the use of $500,000 in the AEL statewide funds for the creation and implementation of the Workforce Diploma Pilot Program. That concludes my remarks. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Comments or questions?
None here.
No question.
Is there a motion?
Chairman, I move that we approve the creation and implementation of the Workforce Diploma Program utilizing $500,000 in the Adult Education and Literacy statewide funds as described in the discussion paper and recommended today by staff.
Second.
It's been moved and second, the motion carries. This is agenda item 11, Adult Education and Literacy Statewide Needs Assessment.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Serna. For the record, Mahalia Baldini with the Workforce Development Division. Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, Section 223 outlines the use of AEL state leadership funds to develop or enhance the adult education system in Texas. One such required activity is monitoring and evaluation of the quality of and improvement in adult education and literacy activities, as well as the dissemination of information about models and proven or promising practices within the state. This morning, we have for your consideration a recommendation to approve $500,000 in AEL state leadership funds to conduct a statewide needs assessment of adult education and literacy services to improve the statewide system over the next several years. Staff proposes a comprehensive evaluation of AEL services, which may include, but is not limited to, analyzing the following AEL program elements: integration and co-enrollment amongst WIOA Titles 1 through 4, student retention and skills gains, as well as credential attainment, program staffing and organizational structures, as well as effective service models. This concludes my remarks, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Comments or questions?
None here.
No question.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the funding of a statewide assessment and evaluation of adult education and literacy services and needs utilizing $500,000 in fiscal year 2024 adult education and literacy state leadership funds as described in the discussion paper and recommended today by staff.
A second.
Been moved, second, motion carries. So agenda item 12, distribution of Texas Rising Star Mentor Funds for board contract year 2025 and approval of funding for a fiscal year 2024 convening of the boards for strategic planning.
Morning, Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Serna. For the record, Allison Wilson with the Child Care and Early Learning Division. For your consideration today, we have a discussion paper outlining two issues related to child care quality improvement. First is the recommended distribution of funds to workforce boards to support the hiring and retention of Texas Rising Star mentoring staff. Staff recommends 60% of the distribution be based on each board's relative proportion of all child care services programs, and 40% be based on their relative proportion of licensed capacity of all programs. Additionally, staff recommends increasing the planned distribution by $66,665 to ensure all boards are funded at least at the level they were in BCY 24. I also want to note that this amount is about $5,000 higher than the amount cited in the discussion paper as it was posted. We had some late data corrections that led us to revise these numbers. Second is a recommendation for $150,000 for FY 24 for childcare and early learning to conduct a board strategic planning for childcare quality improvement event. The commission has already approved funding for a new statewide initiative beginning in fiscal year 25. An event this summer will assist the boards in planning for the use of the increased BCY 25 childcare quality funding. Funding will be used to support the costs of the convening, including supporting board travel. And that concludes my remarks. Happy to answer any questions.
Any comments or questions?
None here.
No questions.
Is there a motion?
Chairman, I move that we approve the increase in the distribution for Texas Rising Star Mentors in the amount of $66,665 and distribute $29,066,665 to boards using the methodology outlined in the discussion paper, and further approve the utilizing of $150,000 for the board statewide planning for quality improvement convening to take place in August of 2024, as recommended today by staff.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded, motion carries. Legislative report? No. Executive director's report.
Short report, just to let you all know that I know that y'all visited with the Win Texas group or group called Win Texas, the executive directors of the some of the workforce development boards. Myself, Courtney Arbor, Allison Wilson, and other staff met with them on Friday to go over more operational things. I think it was a very successful meeting. We got some good feedback from the participants, both the board EDs and some of their staff that were there concerning our new twist replacement, as well as the childcare system, and then just some other conversation that we had that I think was really worthwhile. So I just want to let you all know that we continue to work with them, and we'll continue to work with any of the groups that represent the boards as they make themselves, as they ask us to be available to them. And with that, that's it.
Yeah, I spoke on Thursday, and I learned for the first time, Commissioner Trevino has established a protocol that I have to speak before him, because I had it arranged for him to go first, and then they reversed it on me. So he's somehow conspiring with the boards. I feel like.
I don't know how
It's a
that,
healthy conspiracy.
right, I don't know how that happened, but it happened.
You don't know how.
It was good.
That was a good meeting.
It was.
Regardless of the umbrella under which the boards engage in those kinds of conversations, I do appreciate them doing that of their own kind of sort of idea and exercising on that. I think those conversations go a long way. There's a lot of things that are going on that seem local or regional, but could definitely be adapted statewide, and we don't have as many opportunities at the state level to plug into those. So it has been a good meeting. I'm glad they do it. All right, is there any other order of business come before the commission? I have one quick thing. Kelsey Thomas, you may recognize from having been on the communications team, has joined my office as a staff assistant. So she'll be working with us now. So if you see her sitting there, she's not, dedicated to writing press releases. She's actually doing our work now. So. All right, anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
I second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn. We're adjourned.